Hey everyone, welcome to Boldly Becoming. I'm Angie Mercier, a retired superintendent of education turned executive leadership coach. After 31 years working within the system, I'm now dedicated to helping us speak and live our personal truth, all while leading ourselves and others. Alongside my inspiring guests, we'll share thoughts and stories of authenticity, courage, and transformation. Boldly Becoming is for you if you know that you are meant for more and you're looking for a little extra heart and soul to help you navigate the way. Let's dive in. We are back on Boldly Becoming with Angie with special guest, very first guest on Boldly Becoming, Marsha Vanwynsberghe. We are in part 2 of this conversation together, where we will dive even deeper into NLP and what it is. I'm so excited to share this conversation with you. I heard you talking about subconscious and, just to get nitty-gritty and practical here, would you mind kind of giving us a subconscious 101 on, um, tell us a little bit more about what it is and I mean, we all know the word subconscious, but just in terms of when you're thinking about it with your work and your focus, and you talked about our subconscious keeping us safe. And I
Mhm.
know you always use the phrase safe, predictable, and familiar. I've even quoted you in one of my podcasts.
Mhm.
So just give us that quick 101 on subconscious.
Perfect. I have heard this before. I didn't really even understand it. It was kind of always in the back of my head. I did follow Tony Robbins' work. He was very instrumental in me making some changes over a decade ago. But it was in the hospital bed when I saw and read about subconscious, and that's where our stories are repeating themselves. And I thought, well, here I am. I like a long history of multiple surgeries, many health issues, and I'm like, here I am still in the same spot. This story's on repeat. Interesting. And I think for me, as an example, like I spent 28 years as a kinesiologist, and then I turned and went to an online business. I thought if I have a different business, it's going to be different. Yet I took myself from my 28-year career into my online business, same personality, same traits. I'm like, before I knew it, I'm like, I'm in the same situation. I'm working 12, 15 hours a day. I'm not making it work. Something is, and it's like, that's me. I'm the one person who's part of it. So your subconscious it's who you are at the core. It's your 95% of who you are. It's where all of your thoughts, beliefs, decisions, choices, language, behaviors all live. And most of that was created before you were the age of 8 to 10 years old. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that you are in this space that you are so like a sponge up until the age of 8 to 10. And people will say to me, but I didn't have any trauma. And I'm like, you don't have to have trauma. You can hear something and perceive it to mean something. And now you've applied that filter, and then you continuously follow and make decisions that are in alignment with who you think you are. And so the subconscious is deciding who you are. It's like making those decisions for you because that's what you believe is possible. So that's your 95%. So there's a very simple way of explaining. Your 5% is your conscious mind. And if I explain it from this lens, we are taking in 11 million bytes of information every second. Okay. 11 million bytes. We
Wow.
can only process 40 to 50 bytes a second. That's it. So that means that we are only processing like 0.0004%. That's it. That means there's a whole lot of life happening and a whole lot of opportunities that we're not seeing because our lens of the world is based on all the way that we have lived. So consciously, we can be in this space of like, okay, set the vision board, say the affirmations, put the work out into the world, like be in a space of doing.
Right.
That's the 5%. But the 95%, if you don't believe that is possible for you, that's where you start. Like put the vision out there. Like honestly, there's nothing wrong with the vision. The job is, can you become the version of you who can hold that vision? That means sealing, like where are the beliefs in the system? What can you work on? How can you improve the language? How can you like take actions from that lens? Because you are the person who can hold that. So the two have to work together. You want to take it into masculine, feminine? I spent 95% of my life in the like push, 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 push. burnout nonstop, badge of honor. That was all conscious action. That was all conscious. I was completely ignoring the powerhouse. And so understanding how your subconscious mind works, it is only ever wanting you to do what is safe, predictable, and familiar, as you'd mentioned. So if I set this goal up here, just to be number sense, because people always use numbers, say I want to make a 6-figure a year in my business. I'm like, that's my goal. I'm so excited about that. Well, what do I believe about myself is possible to do that? Who do I have to become in the process? What's the identity? How do I speak to myself? How do I act? How do I show up? What are my boundaries? How do I lead myself? All of that is 100 times more important than how hard you work towards the goal. The two have to be together.
Wow, I love that you talked about this the subconscious there as the powerhouse, right? Just to
Hmm.
clarify?
Yep. It's
And
the powerhouse. So I actually heard this the other day on a podcast. I don't even know which one it was now. But it talked about the sense that, say, for example, a candle flame, you see a candle flame. Okay. So if you
yes.
see a candle flame, imagine that as the conscious mind. It's like if you were to look in the flame, like, what am I missing? What do I need? What do I like? How can I make this better? We're always in a doing state, right? The subconscious mind is like the sun. It's, like, all encompassing. It is such a huge amount of potential that's there. That is so much more important and so much more vast than the candle light. It's like this tiny piece. And I know that if this is brand new work to you, it feels weird and fluffy. I promise you, is anything but fluffy. It's really based in science and the work that they've done. And this has been something, like, even personally, I've watched it with my own husband as he's rehabbed an injury that he was told would never get back to lifting again, to be where he is. He works his butt off, yet I can tell you his belief systems, he is a very different person than he was even a year ago, because that matters more than how hard you work, because you cannot outdo who you are being.
Right.
Does that make
Okay,
sense?
so yes, so
That was
if
a
there's
lot.
someone yeah, that it is a lot, but it is so powerful, and anyone who's listening, I encourage you to go back and listen to that part again, super powerful. And so if somebody is listening right now, Marsha, and they're kind of realizing like, wow, I've been living and acting and doing from an old story. Like, what's the first step that you would say that someone could take towards changing it? And how can even coaching, how can that help to shift some of these old stories? I mean, I know the answer that I would give there, but I would love to hear it from you.
Oh, this is such a great question. So awareness is important. You have to be aware of what you're saying. The challenge is a lot of coaches will have you believe awareness is enough. Awareness is enough. It's like, oh, you need to change your calendar. You need to change your priorities. You need to change your yes, and it that's just a structure piece. That's a conscious change. And I've seen it with a lot of people I've watched over even the last year, where they're being consciously coached how to change something. And yes, it can work, but the challenge is that if you're only consciously coaching someone, that's like me telling you, Angie, if you actually wanted, right? I have a client, for example, who wanted to stop eating candy. And she went to hire a very expensive coach who told her that, well, if it's important to you, why would you do something like that? That, just for any potential coaches who are listening, you are subconsciously applying shame to your client. That is beyond not helpful. Just don't do that. And so,
Wow.
but that's what a lot of people do. Why would you do that? You know better than that. Well, guess what? You know what happened? So then I said to this client, and you know who this client is, but I said to this client, I'm curious, after she said that to you, did your candy consumption go up or down or stay the same? She goes, oh, it went through the roof, because shame was applied. When you apply shame to somebody, that's a conscious way of coaching somebody. You actually will bring them more of what they don't want, because they don't know how to break that cycle on their own. So subconsciously is getting to the root of what that is, like really getting to what the root of that story is, what that message is, so that you can interrupt the pattern. So awareness is important. It is. You have to know you're doing something that's not working, right? You have to recognize that I don't know what it is, but something isn't working. And so awareness is the first thing. And then I just like to give this little simple framework. I use it all the time. I'll share it here if that's okay.
Please.
Is just
Yes.
Yeah, being in a space of, yes, awareness. I like to think of awareness of imagine that your thoughts are like a wheel. So when I shared about taking in the thoughts before, I like to share this number because it's just good for people to understand. You have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, 80 to 90% are on repeat every single day, and 90% of those are negative. And that is before the world gets you. So yes, it's important what you listen to, but again, you can listen to all the positive podcasts you want in the world. If your mindset is garbage and the way you talk to yourself, no podcast is going to fix that. You have to start here. So, awareness, imagine that your thoughts are like this wheel that's spinning nonstop, right? Like a bike wheel. I often say to people that awareness, I want your awareness to be like you throw a stick into the bike wheel, you interrupt the pattern. You have to interrupt it. And when you interrupt it, I want you to ask yourself, like, is that true? And pause. Like, is that thought true? Is it really true? And those are my first two questions. Now I've interrupted it and I look at it and it's like, okay, I don't think it's true. Then I say to my subconscious mind, go find me evidence of the opposite. Go find it for me. Where is it? Where is there evidence the opposite? So, for example, I might be in a space where I am writing my second solo book. I'm working to be even more vulnerable in this one than the first one. There are chatter moments where it's like, I don't know if I can do that. I'm like, wait, is that true? Is that really true? Go find me evidence of the opposite. And immediately I'm like, oh, that version of me in 2016 who wrote her book when the world thought she was crazy and everybody walked away from her, she's in there. You can do this. Okay, now let's rewrite it in a new, empowering way. So, whatever that thought is, like, I'm too much, or then you can be as simple as like rewriting it in a new, empowering way. My story will connect with the people who are meant to hear it. And all of a sudden, it's like that feels really good. Now we're rewriting that belief. And the best thing to do then is to follow up with subconscious reprogramming tools. That's hypnosis, subliminals, tapping to support the new belief that you want. Because remember, 95% of you, your subconscious mind wants what is safe, predictable, and familiar. So you can do this. This is this whole process that I just gave you of like, is interrupt the pattern? Is it true? Is it really true? Go find me evidence the opposite, rewrite it in a new empowering way. Amazing process. But remember, I said we have 60, 80,000 thoughts a day. So will you have to do this work on repeat? You absolutely will because you've spent decades doing it the other way. And you're not doing it wrong. People say to me all the time, "Do I have to do this all the time?" I love that question because I'm like, "Well, do you think every day? Because if you think every day, then yes, you do." And that's a lot of work. And I'm like, as opposed to what? As opposed to what? Staying where you are? Because that's a choice too. Like you get to choose. And so it's just those messages, but that's the work on repeat. And eventually, like in the beginning, it's going to feel like a lot. And I invite you to have so much patience and almost never self-deprecating, but if you can find a sense of humor, it helps. So that's why I joke about the clown car for any of those who have heard me talk about my clown car. My clown car is full of all past versions of me, all past versions, right? All of them, they all get to come in the clown car. They're part of me every single day. I don't resist them anymore. I don't shame them. I don't criticize them, but they all get to come in the clown car. But my 8-year-old version, she's no longer driving the car, right? She gets to sit in the back. For the longest time, our 8-year-old version is driving the car because we're so unaware, yet we're in the back seat trying to jam personal development into our lives. And we're like, it's not working. Right. Because the 8-year-old's still driving the car. You have to interrupt the patterns and change it to buy into beliefs and thoughts that you do want instead. So, in a very, very simple way, take that framework. I can tell you that you can change your life tremendously if you will watch where you're speaking negative language and where you talk about what you don't want. I know what you don't want, but do you know what you do want? Because our subconscious mind does not understand negatives. So stop speaking about the past that's already done, that is like it's over and done with. We can't relive it. Speak about what you want instead. And for some people, that's really hard because we're so good at rehearsing what we want versus speaking about what we do want.
Mic drop. Wow. Wow. Okay. Everyone who's listening, you know I have Marsha on my first guest episode. That so much incredible richness in what you just said, Marsha. And as you're talking, I'm really it just reminds me why I wanted to do NLP work with you, and we'll get to that in just a second. But it's because I've always felt like, even in my current coaching journey, like I could go even deeper
Mhm.
into that. When you're thinking about the 95% subconscious, how do I help my clients to access that? And I really believed that it is with something different and deeper. And that's where I think I'm going to get that with you in the
Mhm.
NLP training. And that's why I've moved forward with that, because I think it's going to be such a beautiful tool in my toolbox of coaching, to help my clients with getting there. Because as you say, you can listen to all the podcasts, read all the incredible books, but we still are left with our own subconscious thoughts that are driving the clown car sometimes, right?
Always. Literally, like, it is a beautiful thing. It's, like, recognizing where I often say, like, when I realize that I'm the problem, I'm also the solution, right? Sometimes we have to stop and look and go, "What is the common thread between, 'Oh, right, that's me. Hmm, okay. Well, if I'm the problem, I'm also the solution.'"
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, let's dive into NLP. And I said I'm so excited to dive in with you in August. So next month already, we're going to get started in your outspoken program. And we've been throwing around this NLP, but really tell us, what does this stand for? And just how can you simply explain it and, potentially link it to what you've just talked to us about in terms of the subconscious?
Yes, I will do it as simply as possible. NLP is neuro linguistic programming. So, neuro is the information that we bring in. The language is like linguistics, so the language that we use, and programming the patterns that we're running on repeat. So it's like taking all of that in and recognizing those thoughts and patterns that we have and how do we change them. So when I signed up for NLP, the very first premise that you learn is being at cause. And that's like people, so at cause, CAUSE, which means that no matter what has happened to you, you are in a space of ownership and taking full responsibility for yourself no matter what. And that in itself can be triggering for people. For me, it was like this massive aha moment. My podcast is called Own Your Choices, Own Your Life. It was ownership that changed my entire thoughts, structures, and system. And that's when I realized that I love this way of thinking. So we can create change no matter where we are. So that's what it is. And over the course of that time, you learn a lot of different techniques of how can I release a old belief? How can I create lasting change? How can I change my language to speak about what I want instead of what I don't want? And from the people that have come through it, I have seen it firsthand. People have like lasting change. Like the candy situation that I just shared, that was in February. And I asked her just the other day, she's like, I haven't had it since then. I don't want it. It just doesn't even, and it's not that I've told her she can't have it. Her need for it, her subconscious need for it is gone. And so it's where the lasting change comes in. And the thing with NLP is that it's how can you become a better communicator? It's like really is becoming a better communicator. And in some way, shape, or form, we all communicate in our lives, don't we? We all have continuous conversations. We're all like, what would happen if you could become a better communicator? I've seen it in my own personal marriage, to be honest. There are times where, like, a past version of me, well, on it, and you know what, and just be real, she still shows up. I have those moments. I have those moments I had one this weekend where I like,
Some situations are more triggering than others.
oh my God, like totally bit his head off. And he's like, "What is up with you?" And I'm like, "I don't know, actually. Like, I'm having an off day." It was interesting. I'm like, it was interesting. So becoming a better communicator is being in a space of like, wow, I don't know why I behave that way. And then instead it was like, what I heard you say was this. And he's like, I didn't say that. I'm like, but that's how I heard it. So you can become a better communicator through this work as well.
Very cool. So, when people come to you for NLP work with you as a coach,
Mhm.
like what kinds of things do you have people coming to? Like, can you give us some examples of situations that people might come to where they want some help and they know that NLP is going to be how they get there?
Yes. I'm only laughing because I really do trigger a bunch of people in a beautiful way, like activate. Let's go with activate. Okay, we'll say it, but
Yeah,
it's
activate. I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah. But I do. And I think the big thing being that like my program is called Outspoken. I do speak. I don't have a problem speaking. People want to be able to speak. They want to be able to be seen. They don't understand why they're not or what that challenge is. So there's that piece of it that shows up that people want to be seen. They might have spent, I've seen people who've spent thousands of dollars on websites and on programs and landing pages and done the whole program and put it out, but they can't tell anyone they have a program because they're so scared to be seen. That is another example, right? Consciously doing all the work, but subconsciously, can you talk about what you do? Not yet. Do that first, literally. And so people will come to me because they want to be seen. Another thing that I know can activate people is my age. I used to hide or be ashamed by it, to be honest, because I felt so late. But now I'm like, no, I'm 56. And I mean, what I've built in the last 3 years, I spent my whole life never believing was possible. So you can change at any age and stage, and that's a living, breathing example of it. So it's a bit of an activator. People want to have success. They want to help people. They want to know how to share the parts of themselves that maybe they've never felt comfortable putting out there. And so I know I can activate people for that way. And they also want to know how to let go of old stories that they know are holding them back, but they don't have a clue how to do it. So that's
Mhm.
what a lot of people come to me for. And some want to learn the techniques and become, some are coaches, some are speakers, some are podcasters. I've had realtors, I've had teachers, I've had lawyers come through. And I've also had average people who they're not coaching, but they want to learn more about themselves. And that's
Mm.
actually why I took it in the first place, is I wanted to learn about myself and during the work, it helped me to understand the little bit of the science part of it to go, I'm not broken. Like, I honestly thought there was something wrong with me for the longest time because no matter what I did to try and create success, none of it was happening. So I thought maybe it's not for me. And I wasn't broken. That's what the process feels like sometimes. So people come to me because they want to learn more about themselves and how they work and how they operate.
Mhm. So, would you mind sharing, like, what your personal biggest shift has been because of NLP?
Oh my gosh. That is such a great question. What is my own personal shift has been? Hmm. Maybe let me go this way is seeing what I want to create and believing it was possible. 3 years ago I wanted to create my outspoken certification and I had a dream of all the other things I could do in my business, but I could not for the life of me figure out how. And I was all in how. Like, how is that going to happen?
Right.
And in releasing that how and being in a space, I think my biggest rewrite for beliefs has been that it's like safe to pause. It's safe to receive support. It's safe to like not have to push to burnout. It's safe to take care of myself as my business grows. Like I had to really learn how to ask for and receive help. This time last year, we had 2 people in our business. I think I counted the other day, I think we have 8. And I'm not
Um,
saying that in a sense of you might be going, I don't want anyone in my you don't have to. But I knew with what we were building that it's not about me, it's about like collectively what we all bring together and what we do. So allowing myself to receive support and be seen in this a little bit more softer feminine side, I think has been the biggest game changers that NLP has taught me.
yeah, that's incredibly powerful. We've talked about at Bloom, we've talked about even courageous visibility in terms of, allowing yourself to be seen and how difficult that is sometimes for
Mhm.
leaders
Mhm.
to be able to just like lean into their authentic selves. So difficult.
Well, as you said, seen as they are, right? It's their
They
authentic self,
are.
seen as they are, not as who they think they're supposed to be in
Right.
that box, as they are.
Yeah. I also love when you talked about that it's like safe not to have to be in burnout. It's safe to be able to accept support.
Mhm.
So many leaders go through it alone they
Mhm.
feel lonely, they feel isolated, and they don't feel that that is safe. So I think that that obviously was a powerful shift for you, and I think it can be for so many people too.
Yeah, it has been a huge shift, and it's been a space of, allowing to love on those parts of myself, see those parts of myself, recognizing again more than enough. The other piece being that, as a person who is doing and always in fire and pushing, I probably about 2 years ago every day would be in a space of that I did more than enough today. Like,
Right.
it's more than enough. Anyone could find they could Google my name, they could find content, they could find a way to connect with me. There's more than enough. I don't need to do more. And it's like, that's a piece of it. It's more than enough. That is something I probably say to myself, I don't know, dozens of times a day. It's more than enough. More than enough. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of repetition.
Mhm. Mhm. Lots of
Oh,
repetition.
yeah. So if you don't mind, so I'm excited to start in August with you. Tell me, or tell the listeners too, like what are some of the things that I'm going to be learning about in my NLP training with you?
Oh, you are about to learn so much about yourself that I just get so excited when this happens, when people come
Yay!
in and they have these like light bulb moments because, it's you are your business, you are your like you lead yourself, like everything you can learn about yourself is the best. And also knowing that there's very simple paths and techniques that we are going to be doing that can help you to create lasting change faster than you could have imagined. And so that's the beautiful thing is seeing that and seeing your own confidence grow in the process in yourself is incredible. I can think of two people in particular who were in this past cohort and they look different. They look different. Their energy's different. They're in a space of like trust themselves more. They lead from that energy. It's like and every time I ask them, I'm like, how are you feeling? They're like, I feel different. I don't understand why. And I'm like, I feel like that's a piece of it. You're going to learn so much more about yourself and you're going to learn how to help clients who keep hitting the same wall. Like if
Right.
you have the clients who keep hitting the same wall, which of course you do, we all do. And this helps you with some tools and techniques to help them to have lasting results. And eventually then you like become this coach if we want to take that lens, this coach or speaker who trusts themselves even more, who is willing to like lean in and support their clients while still holding boundaries in place. I think that's another piece of NLP is also learning, like, don't apply a meaning when there's no meaning. Like, don't apply a meaning to a story, right? A client might not be having results. A client might not be having the experience that they want in a container. And where are those boundaries? So I recently had a conversation with somebody, and if you hear this, I love you. She was not having the results that she wanted. And I'm like, okay, then listen, I'm open to learning where I can be better too. So let's have a conversation. As we had our conversation, I said something, I hear what you're saying, and I completely respect that. Have you watched any of these modules on this? I knew that she hadn't. And she was like, well, no. And I'm like, well, whose responsibility is that? Because that's not my responsibility. My responsibility, I will own my part and I'll come in and like I will do and give. But that doesn't mean I give more if a client's not doing their part either. Like I can't save someone. And I think that's where I spent most of my life going back to my stories. I have to save people because I can, because I'm the strong one. That doesn't serve anyone. That doesn't serve your clients. It disempowers them and it leaves you in this constant burnout stage. So I think you're going to find more about yourself, more about your boundaries, and more about how that's only going to continue to support your clients.
Oh, bring it on. I'm ready. I'm so ready for it. I cannot wait. And yes, it's been like in coaching, it's just been actually for me just such a relief not to have to be that tugboat to pulling people along, but just seeing my clients as capable and resourceful on their own and being
Mhm.
able to just help to facilitate their growth. So I'm excited about how NLP can support my ICF coaching. And it's so wonderful doing it with you, Marsha, because you're also, becoming ICF certified at the same time. So I'm looking forward to our continued connections on how we make the two work hand in hand.
And they will, and I think it's gonna work out in the most beautiful way possible, and, somebody said, "Why are you, like, doing this training on top of everything else that you do?" And I do believe, like, ICF is the gold standard in coaching, and that NLP within ICF is only going to become something that is recognized even more, so it doesn't hurt, and at the same time, I will never ask my clients to do something that I don't do. I won't. So I am the newbie. I am in the space. So it's a reminder that it's okay to be new. It's okay to learn. It's okay
Yeah.
to not always have the answers. And I think that's really, really important to be able to see that.
Is there a misconception out there about NLP or anything that people
Mhm.
think it is that you wanna just clarify before we close today?
Yeah, no, I think that there's a lot of misconceptions, and I do think that there is some, I think that listen, I think that there's a market and a business for everything. If you're seeing something online that is like get your NLP for $7 or for $97 or get it for like get it with like 10 videos, it is not. That's not NLP. It is people say to me, doesn't it bother you because it gets such a bad rap? I don't think it gets a bad rap. I think that everything has positive and negative to it. And I think that, for the longest time, NLP was looked at as a manipulative way to help people to make sales. And like it was like a car salesman type way is how it was
Hmm.
explained. And because it's languaging and it's understanding how to use language, but it's like one tiny piece of it. And for me, if people do believe that, then all the more reason to continue to put my work out there because it's the opposite of that. So that doesn't make me shy away at all. Actually, it's like, no, it's more important than ever to continue to share this work. So I think those are some of the misconceptions. Is it work and does it take a lot of practice? Yes, it 100% does. Like, I don't ever sell that short, and I remember going back to how many thoughts a day you have, and that's just you versus you. That has nothing to do with the average. They say that people spend 6 hours a day on social media. So you wanna talk about not knowing who you are, not being grounded in who you are, and being distracted nonstop, like, it is work, and it's worth it.
Yeah. Practice, 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 repetition, 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 right?
Nonstop. Yes. Yeah.
Nonstop,
Yeah.
every day. Alright, if there is, like, one thing that you hope people take away from our conversation together, what would be that, like, golden nugget, that one
Mm.
thing that you hope people really heard?
Well, I'm gonna trust my gut on this, and I believe that what's coming through right now is, like, your past does not define who you are. Like, it doesn't define who you are. Your past is kind of like your resume up until today. It's like what it's taught you, what you've learned, who you are, your experiences. It's not a predictor of the future unless you decide that it is. And if you decide that it is, then you've chosen that. And if you don't want to choose that, there's a different way of being. And so you get to decide. For the longest time, I was very hard on myself and I was very like, man, I just ripped myself apart for past choices and decisions. And I'm still always working on that, but your past does not define where you're going. It's like defined and made you who you are. So when you can learn to love on those parts of yourself, like I do believe everything can coexist. I think it's so important to learn how to coexist with all of it. The parts of you, maybe that, my fighter that got me here, the soft feminine side that's learning how to be more. They all get to coexist. So don't let your past decide who you are becoming unless you want to. And if you do, then you're probably not listening to this podcast.
Mhm. That is a great way to close. And, Marsha, I want to say as my first guest on Boldly Becoming, doing this together today and having this conversation is so much more than just recording an episode. This has been just a beautiful conversation that I'm leaving today with so much, and just feeling and experiencing your energy and the passion that you bring to your work, and the authenticity that you bring to who you are and your character. Like I'm so grateful for you and so grateful for our connection and so grateful for this conversation. So thank you so much for your time today.
My absolute pleasure. Honestly, I love seeing more and more women, like men and women, but step into what they're calling and what they're meant to do, and they know what they're meant to do. So I love, like, I know you've asked me, someone else asked me, and I'm like, I'd love to be on your podcast. They're like, oh, I'm so new. And I'm like, amazing. I love it. Like, I just think it's celebrate this process because it's beautiful. I'm so proud of you and I'm so grateful that I get to be here.
That's awesome. And I'm excited, just as a quick aside, to have you at our August 13th Bloom Backyard Circle. We're going to just get into lots of great things as we think ahead to September, which is sometimes is looming for people. But I'm excited about that not work, but that conversation that we
Mm-hmm.
can have together with the women in that circle. And then also, as a little hint, at next year's Bloom Leadership Circle, you'll be seeing Marsha's name. And so I'm excited to have you in that space because you've already been a participant there. And I know that that was something really special for you too.
It was. It was a beautiful room. It was great to be in a space where, completely brand new people and also just seeing it from the lens of like, you just put yourselves in different rooms. Like it's easy to keep going to the exact same events. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's like put yourself in rooms that you don't know a whole lot of people. And we did that. And I had some great conversations with people there that day.
That's so great. Yes. And if you're in that room, Marsha referred to you as brand new. So I love that. So just before we go, I would love for you just to share, because I'm going to be asking my guests this question. What does boldly becoming mean to you, Marsha?
I love that you have a question. I have a question at the end of my podcast too, and I love it. What does it mean to me is like boldly becoming. I believe that we are all always in the process of becoming and like opening into what is available for us. And why not do it bold? Like, why not? It's like I like allow it to be bold because that's where your people find you. If you've ever been in the too much or too sensitive or too like whatever, like, lean into that because that's where your people find you. That's where, like, absolute strangers will drop into your feed because they're like, "Oh, there she is. That's the solution I've been looking for." Like, allow yourself to be bold in that process.
Thank you so much, Marsha. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Another incredible conversation with Marsha. I hope you learned something walking away about NLP. I know I certainly did, and I can't wait to get started, as you know, with Marsha in her outspoken coaching certification coming up in just a month's time. So excited to get started and excited that you had an opportunity to learn more about it too. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If something from this episode sparked a shift in you, I would love to hear about it. Please share your biggest takeaway or aha moment on social media and tag me so I can celebrate your growth along with you. And if this show is adding value to the person you are becoming, it would mean the world to me if you took a moment to leave a 5-star review. Your support helps us reach more leaders who are ready to speak their truth, and I am deeply grateful for every single one of you in this community. Remember, this life isn't about reaching a destination. It's about loving the process of who you are becoming every step of the way. I'll see you next time.